This is Thoughts Become Things. With each episode, we'll help you reach the highest creative potential that God has for you. With your host, a teacher, life coach, a dream coach, and motivational speaker, Jeremy Lopez.
Hello everyone, welcome again to Thoughts Become Things. I'm Jeremy Lopez and I'm really glad and excited you guys joined with me today. I hope everyone had a great Christmas, by the way. My biggest prayer is that people around the holiday season, because I know it's very lonesome for some people, and that lonesome mentality is magnified a lot during the holidays. And so my prayer is that people that are lonely, can begin to really find a friend or a family member to be able to really spend time with them and let the Lord just minister life to them, because we all go through that in our lives. So I hope everyone was able to actually spend time, some quality time, with someone that loves you, someone that dearly, dearly loves you and celebrates you for who you are in your life. And I'm really glad once again today you guys decided to join us. Man, we are looking forward, folks, to another new year. I mean, can you believe it? I mean, just yesterday I was sitting here thinking to myself, man, I can't believe it's already Christmas. I've built this up in my mind for 2 months. I mean, I love Christmas, and now it's over, it's gone. It's like a day after Christmas here. And who knows, guys? I mean, I tell you, who knows what this year of 2019 is about to hold for us. It's amazing what God's going to do in this next year. So I'm excited today because I wanted to talk to you guys today really about some vision for a moment. All right. I'm going to take it from a totally different angle and share with you something that you probably maybe have never thought about. Maybe you've heard before, but I really feel like today you guys need to hear this. I was watching one of my favorite Christmas movies, The Polar Express. Now, how many of you have ever watched The Polar Express? It's a cartoon, but it's sort of lifelike, and Tom Hanks plays a great role because his voice sort of transcends, between small boy to, the dad in it. I mean, his voice is played in different parts throughout the movie by different characters, just sort of different tone of voice, and he's a great guy anyway in real life, Tom Hanks is, and in the movie he plays the conductor, and you see these children as the Polar Express sort of pulls up to their house during the night. The kids don't know if they're dreaming or awake, and they walk outside, they hear this big, freight train, and they walk outside, and here's the conductor, where you hear Tom Hanks' voice, and he's saying, everyone, all aboard, this is the Polar Express. And you might say, why on earth are you talking about the Polar Express? Because I'm talking to you today about vision, but I'm also talking to you today about keeping it to yourself. Keeping it to yourself. And I'll tell you why. So I want you to hold on for a minute and just hear me out for a moment. So, as you know, the kids don't know if they're sleeping or awake, and they all tend to get on board, and they collaborate with the other children on board, and they go to the North Pole, and they're able to see Santa Claus and just have this heartfelt moment of like, wow, this utopia of, man, we're in the North Pole and Santa Claus's, workshop, and, and all this other stuff with Santa Claus and the reindeers, and the story about the bell, and the children can hear the bell, the adults can't because they grow out of it, and all that fun stuff. And so think about this. So the kids, as they're approaching the train, the conductor, played by Tom Hanks, gives them a golden ticket. And so they all get on board on the train, and the little girl on the train loses her ticket, and the little boy helps her find the ticket. And halfway through the movie, they find the ticket, and she gets her ticket back. But through all their experiences, and I want you to hear me for a moment about this because it deals with your vision. Out of all their experiences, as they are getting off the train individually to go back to their homes, the conductor, played by Tom Hanks again, is giving them a hole punch. And he pulls his hole puncher out and starts punching all these holes 90 miles an hour into their golden ticket, and he gives it back to them as they come off the train and getting ready to go back to their house. And it tells them a story. One of them goes to this place of belief. One of them, this one girl says lead, and he's like, I think that's pronounced lead, as in leader. I'll never forget that part. And then you get to the young boy, who is more or less the main character of the story. And Tom Hanks puts the golden ticket behind his back, And he takes the hole puncher and he starts punching this hole, this old golden ticket, 90 miles an hour, and he gives it to the boy, and the boy says, and he starts to talk and starts to tell what it says, and Tom Hanks' character says, that's not for me to know. That's for you. And at that moment, something really stuck in me, because I really started thinking in that moment that sometimes when it deals with biblical beliefs, law of attraction, calling those things that be not as though they were, having a vision, without a vision the people perish, and so on, and all these other powerful scriptures we read in the Bible. And we know all these, and we start thinking about the fact of how does this relate to this golden ticket that Tom Hanks told him, don't even say it out loud. It's not for me to know. It's for you to know. And at that moment, something just struck a chord in my heart to begin to do this podcast for each one of you today, to let you know that not everyone needs to know your journey. Not everyone needs to know your vision. And many of you, I know, have visions of being entrepreneurs, collaborating with someone to maybe do a joint venture of a business, or try to move up the corporate ladder as a manager, or really just basically trying to start a family, trying to maybe buy a better home for yourself, maybe trying to find peace in a situation that everyone else says will never have peace in. And I want to tell you something today, because many of you, like myself, have maybe been made fun of before, of like, really, you think you're gonna do that? You really think you're gonna be able to have that type of car? You really think you're gonna have that type of ministry? You really think you are you're going to be able to, to start this business? I mean, come on, you're educated, you're not educated, you're over-educated, you're overqualified, you don't have two marbles in your head, whatever people have said about you or against you. Let me explain something to you. Sometimes it's best to keep your mouth shut and leave it to yourself, because a lot of times vision and personal responsibilities, as far as, my own life and where I want to be and where I'm projecting myself to be and what I feel like God wants me to do in my life, and I'm calling those things, and I'm thinking the thoughts of God, and I'm writing them down, and I'm trying to attract it into my life, and so on and so on. And all of this, you have to look at it and realize, what? Not everyone needs to know the beginning stages or even halfway through it of what's going on with you. I always tell people this: find someone, because there's not going to be a group of people, folks. You're not going to be able to find an entire church, an entire organization. You're not going to find 50 people, much less probably 25 people, to tell your vision to. Hey, I'm going to start a business, and this is what's going to happen. You've got to remember, there's a lot of doubters, unfortunately, out there around you. And some of them love you dearly. Some of them are really good friends of yours. But not everyone can be trusted with a vision or a goal of someone else's. I mean, much less themselves. A lot of times people can build up an attitude of jealousy or competition, or how dare you think you're going to have this? I mean, look what you've done. I know about your past. I know what you've done in the past. I mean, you're not even educated. Do you remember when you said that stupid, ridiculous comment to someone, and because you didn't even know how to operate a coffee maker, or you didn't know how to do this or this? And sometimes we look at that and realize that sometimes people remember the things about you, of all the mistakes and all the faults you made. And here you are trying to attract something good into your world. You're trying to think thoughts of God. You're trying to pull that will into being of God to be able to really be something that you feel is what that something should be for you. And so because of that, you've got people around you who will not forget certain things about you. Much less, here's the key thing: if you're dealing with someone who loves you and is really sweet and kind, and they grew up with you, they know you're good, the bad, the ugly, and not even those people, because even if some of those people might have low self-esteem, let me tell you something, folks. Low self-esteem sometimes is not a killer to yourself. It is, but it's not just a killer to yourself. It's a killer to other people. Low self-esteem is what opens the door for jealousy. Look what I've done, but yet they get this. I've done this so much in my life, but yet they have to do this. How come I can't lose weight and he can? How come she looks this way and yet my hair won't be fixed this way? Whatever the story may be, whatever gender you are, the truth is, folks, you've got to be able to be selective in those you're telling your secrets to, your goals to, your visions to. And as you start off this new year, I want to sort of help each one of you to see that. I want to bring your goal to the light, to where it's on your golden ticket and no one else has to know about it. The truth is, Tom Hanks was right in the movie. Hey, it's not my business. Put it another way. It's not my business. That's between you and God. That's your business. It's not my business. You don't have to tell me your business. And if you notice that from the standpoint of the movie, now I'm going to read into the movie a little bit more, probably, and then it probably should be, but let's just go there for a moment. You're dealing with a conductor who is a conductor of the Polar Express, so he has a mission, a job, and that is what? To help convince children that there's a Santa Claus again. And yet here he is picking up children. He's probably already picked up, thousands of children throughout the years. If you want to, let's just go there for a moment on the story, the cartoon. And so all of a sudden he comes across this one little boy who seems a little special out of the group for that one year. And he's the last boy that he is dropping off. And all of a sudden it's like, he looks at him and he says, hey, look, don't tell me. I mean, that's not my responsibility. It's not my idea, and it's not my creativeness, and it's not even my business. And so I'm going to hole punch your golden ticket behind my back, then give it to you, because the idea is it's not up to me. The magic of your own life is between you and God. It's not about me. I'm going to go my merry way. I'm going to focus on my vision. And next year, when next year comes around, I'm going to go pick up more children. And I'm going to do the same thing over and over again every Christmas, because that's what I'm made for. But for you, you know what? If you tell me your vision, your goal, it'll mean nothing to me, because you know what? You're going to be a fly by night. You're going to come into my life like a child, and you're going to go your merry way. But I'm focusing on my vision, so I won't really have time to feed into yours, much less even remember it. So it's really none of my business. And you don't want me altering your vision and something maybe that I could do detrimental, or even think about it in a wrong way. We won't even touch on that, on that issue of people thinking wrongly about your vision because you've told them, which can actually jeopardize and hinder your vision big time. Then you're going to have to do more fighting, for lack of better words, in your own mind about what people then now know about you, and now what they're counteracting of what you've told them. And so you have to sort of look at that story and realize there's a lot of truth in that story. And goals and visions are powerful for yourself and for those selected few of people that really have your back, who truly celebrate you. They're not jealous of you, but they celebrate you for who you are and where you're going. And no matter how big your vision is, it won't even affect them one bit. Why? Because of the fact that they really, truthfully love you, and they're focusing on their own affairs, their own life. I always tell people this: when you begin to get people in your life that truly are vision people, I'm talking they are full of passion, full of vision, and they're always just like, oh my gosh, I cannot wait to do this, and here's what my lineup is for today, here's my outline. When you get someone that is like that, what happens is, you can trust people like that are close in your life, because they're not going to sabotage your vision. They obviously don't have low self-esteem because they're already pumped up and excited about their own life, building their own career, building their own ministry, doing what they're called to do. And when you get someone who is, listen to me very closely, folks, because I don't want you to miss the point of this podcast today. When you get someone who is working out their own salvation with fear and trembling, and they're hitting it head on, man, they are hitting their vision and their life of what it looks like, and how the outline is going to look, and what they need to buy for their company, and what they need to build to be able to find their wife or find their husband, what they need to do, and they're focusing on all that, and they're truly working out their own salvation with fear and trembling. You're dealing with somebody you could probably trust, that you know very well and is close to you. Why? Because they're not going to sabotage you, because they know that, hey, look, I'm focusing on my own salvation, my own vision, my own work, my own life, and I'm excited about it. So what do you think they're going to do about your life? They're going to get pumped up too for you, because it's going to help pump them up in what they're doing for themselves. If you get someone who's lackadaisical, never doing anything, staying at home, doesn't care about anything, and just wishing, and just always talking about what everyone else has, and the moment they open their mouth to say, did you know so-and-so has this car? Like, who do they think they are? The moment you hear anyone say something similar to that, folks, whatever you do, run. And you can run mentally. You don't have to run physically, but you can run mentally as far as you can. Because those are the people letting you know right off the bat that they're sabotaging someone else's vision. They're letting you know right off the bat that this person's vision or goal was to have this nice car, this nice home, this nice job, have this type of ministry, find a better church, whatever the situation may be for them. And they're letting you know right off the bat, who do they think they are? Did you hear that so-and-so got actually a brand new house? The moment you hear it said like that, folks, you need to realize that will be you eventually. That will be said about you from that person saying, did you hear about so-and-so? They think they're going to start their own business. Did you hear that, folks? The moment anyone tells you something to that nature, I have people around me that are like that. And I know at that moment I shut it down mentally to never open my mouth to them. In fact, I would rather them see the results already manifested, and then they say, oh wow, look what you've done. And I could say, you're right, it is done that way. And then they turn around and say, well, I didn't even know you were working on that. And when they do, you know what? You just smile, nod, and say, well, I like to keep things to myself sometimes until it's manifested. And there's nothing wrong with saying that. Sometimes you just have to keep your mouth shut, folks, and just be about the Father's business and be about your own life, attracting what you know the universe wants to bring to you in your life that God has initiated. And that's that. You don't always need everyone else in your business, and especially when it deals with something that is bigger than what you are right now. And hear me very good, folks. The moment you recognize something is bigger than what you have and what you are right now in your life, that you're projecting in your visionary realm and your goals, the moment you do, you automatically want to realize, I've got to work to get there. Mentally and physically, I've got to work to get there because it's bigger than where I am right now. How much more do you realize, folks, that other people outside of yourself is going to fight and struggle? Because here you are trying to fight and struggle, for lack of better words, to be and to get where you need to be, to actually move into that place that is something bigger than you. Imagine people outside of you, how much they're going to struggle with that. Because they don't have the heart you do for your own life, and they see something, they hear something that of you trying to become bigger or have something bigger than what you currently are. Imagine someone with low self-esteem is going to run with that. Imagine how devastating and how gossiping and everything else and talebearing they're going to be about that about you. And their negativity, folks, like Jesus talked about with the mourners, with Jairus' daughter. Hey, move these mourners out of the way. And in Israel, they hire that thing. They hire mourners, to be able to mourn and cry. They do for leaders in Asian nations as well. When a leader dies, they'll hire people to mourn to make it realize how loved they were. It's almost like, how fake can you be, But Jesus was like, get these people out of the way. I don't want these mourners here. Because negativity in the universe pulls out a lot of things, and it brings stumbling blocks for you, and you don't need that, nor do you deserve it. So you've got to begin to keep your mouth shut and don't let other people know your business until you find somebody you can trust that truly loves you, celebrates you, working out their own salvation, their own will, their own vision, their own life, their own goal, and loving it. And you can see the productivity of the fruit in which they're producing in their own life, and they're gung-ho about their life. Those are the people that you really want to hang around with. Those are the people you can collaborate with. Those are the people you can throw ideas around to, folks. Those are the people you want surrounding you as a leader in your life. Because the leaders hang out with leaders. And now we understand why they do. So I wanted to sort of present this to you guys today because I want you to be able to present an outline to yourself. Respect yourself, love yourself, honor yourself enough today to present to yourself an outline of what this year, 2019, is going to look like for you, and the goals you will achieve, and how. And here's another thing you have to remember: how am I going to do this? Don't just say, "I'm going to buy me a new this. I'm going to buy me a new that. I'm going to get a new job." All of that probably will never happen. I'm not being negative, but it will never happen for you until you bring out a how. What is the first steps in my how of how to do it? What is the first step that would help connect me to that vibration of what that feels like, of what it looks like? The key thing is, if universally we know that everything is vibrationally, that means everything is sort of, imagine a vibration as a line, as a way of connection. That's how I look at it when I think of frequency and vibration. It's a way of connection, like a straight line that connects me to the same frequency wave that I'm thinking. And if that's the case, then you know what? I want to be able to connect to things, and the way to connect to them is find my how. What is my first step of the how to be able to go in that direction and be able to accomplish my goal. And when you do that, folks, you're bound and destined, and because you're determined to make it happen, you're going to make it happen. And in 2019, you will make sure it happens for you. So don't forget that today. So go today with vision. Keep your mouth shut. Be careful who you tell your goals to, and go forward because you deserve it. Let 2019 be the year, folks. Let it be the year where you arise like an eagle and you soar, and you don't let anyone stop you. Let no one stop you from your goal. No matter if you have to love people from a distance, no matter if you have to love them and bless them and move on, do it, folks. Your life is valuable, it's powerful, and you owe it to yourself to live the best life now. You deserve it right now. So go today, make an outline, and build your future, folks, for 2019. Hey, thank you again for tuning in to our podcast. By the way, do not forget, my webinar is January 29th at 7 p.m. Central Time. January 29th, 7 p.m. Central Time. And we only have a selected few of people who can get in on it. And you get to be live with me in the webinar. You get to interact with me in the webinar. You get a full-length copy of the complete video emailed to you the next day after the video. You get a PDF file, which is an outline of my entire teaching I'm going to do there. You get that sent to your email, like I think a day or two before the teaching. So, folks, if you really want to learn, if you want to be trained and discipled, and you really want to be able to know about certain subjects, you need to be in my webinar, because my webinars is where I go very deep in teaching. You won't find me teaching really deep in podcasts, but you will find it in the webinars. And so I want to encourage you guys. You have to make sure you go to the website, look on the word webinar. You might have a banner on the homepage as well that says webinar. Click on it. You have to register and pay for it. You have to do both. If not, it'll kick you out of the system and you won't be able to be registered for it and won't be a part of it. So make sure you register for it, and then the part right underneath that number 2 is where you pay for it. When you do that, you're in there. You're in for the new webinar of January. And people that are on board with me, they get addicted to it and they're part of it every month. And I'm so glad and honored that they're joining with me every month. So be a part of the family here of Identity Network. Join the webinar today, sign up for it, register for it, and you are good to go. And I will see you guys on the webinar January 29th. Don't forget, have a happy new year this coming, Tuesday, and I'll see you on the next podcast next Wednesday. God bless.
This has been the Thoughts Become Things podcast with Jeremy Lopez, helping you reach your highest creative potential that God has for you. For more episodes, products, and information on Jeremy, visit www.identitynetwork.net.